All right, we have another version of Cinderella. This one only has maybe one picture, two pictures, so I'm going to invite you just to kind of sit back, maybe lay down, get yourself comfortable, and listen to the story. Maybe even close your eyes and kind of picture it in your mind, and I'll let you know when then there's a picture, okay? So if you want to look up at the screen. All right, so another version of Cinderella. Compare it to the other one that I read to you. Cinderella. A mother was very ill. She knew she would soon die, leaving behind her second husband, who was rich but not kind, and her beautiful daughter. She called her daughter to her bedside and said, "My dear girl, be good, and God will protect you. I will look down on you from heaven and be near you." After she died, the girl went to her mother's grave every day and cried. Winter came, and in the spring, the girl's stepfather married a new wife. The new wife had two daughters who had pretty faces but mean, jealous hearts. These new stepsisters took the girl's lovely clothes away from her and gave her an old dress and wooden shoes to wear. "Just look at her now," they laughed. They made her work from morning till night. She got up before the sun, carried water, lit fires, cooked and washed. The girl didn't have a bed. She had to sleep by the fire in the cinders. This meant she always looked dusty and dirty, and so they called her Cinderella. Once, when their stepfather was going away to a fair, the two stepsisters asked him to buy them pearls and jewels. Cinderella said, "Please bring me the first branch that knocks against your hat on your way home." So he brought gemstones for the two stepsisters and a hazel branch for Cinderella. Cinderella thanked him. She planted the hazel branch beside her mother's grave and watered it with her tears. It grew and became a beautiful tree. Cinderella would sit beneath it to cry and pray, and the birds would come to sit in the tree and listen. One day the king of the land announced a great festival to honor his son, the prince. When the two stepsisters heard the news, they were very excited. "Come, Cinderella," they demanded, "comb our hair for us, tie our sashes and fasten our buckles, for we are going to the king's palace." Cinderella did everything her stepsisters asked, and then she said, "May I go to the dance too?" "You, Cinderella?" replied her stepmother. "Go to the dance covered in dust and dirt? You have no clothes or shoes." But Cinderella still wished to go. Her stepmother tipped a great pot of lentils into the ashes and said, "If you pick them all out before we leave, in 2 hours' time you can come with us." Cinderella opened the window and called, "Pigeons, turtle doves, all the birds of the sky, peck lentils for the pot and leave the ashes aside." 2 pigeons flew in, then turtle doves, then all the birds from near and far came whirring and crowding into the kitchen to peck among the ashes. They gathered the good lentils back into the pot in less than an hour. Cinderella showed the pot to her stepmother, full of delight because she thought she would go to the dance. But the cruel stepmother said, "It makes no difference. You cannot come, for you have no clothes and cannot dance. We would be ashamed of you." She turned her back and hurried away with her 2 mean, jealous daughters. Cinderella went to her mother's grave beneath the hazel tree and called out, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, drop silver and gold down over me." A white bird in the tree brought down a beautiful silver ball gown and slippers embroidered with silver silk. Cinderella quickly put them on and went to the dance. Everyone at the king's palace stopped to look at the beautiful stranger. Cinderella's stepsisters and stepmother didn't recognize her because she looked so much like a princess in her silver dress. The prince was captivated. He only danced with Cinderella and never let go of her hand. She danced till it was late, and then she wanted to go home. The prince said, "I will accompany you," for he wished to see where the beautiful girl was from. She escaped him, however, and hid in the pigeon house. The prince waited until her stepfather came and told him an unknown girl had leapt into the pigeon house. The stepfather brought an axe and chopped the pigeon house to pieces. No one was inside, for Cinderella had jumped quickly down from the back of the pigeon house and had run to the little hazel tree. There she had taken off her beautiful clothes and laid them on her mother's grave, and the bird had taken them away. Then she sat down in the kitchen among the ashes. The next day, the king's festival for his son began afresh. Cinderella went to the hazel tree and said, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, drop silver and gold down over me." Then the bird flew down an even more gorgeous dress of gold and sparkling golden slippers. And when Cinderella appeared in this dress, everyone was astonished at her beauty. The prince had been waiting for her and danced with no one else. When it got late, she wished to leave, and the prince followed her, but she ran away from him and into the garden behind the house. There stood a magnificent tall pear tree. She clambered so nimbly between the branches that the prince did not know where she had gone. He waited until her stepfather came and told him an unknown girl had climbed the pear tree. The man took an axe and cut the tree down, but no one was in it. Cinderella had jumped down on the other side of the pear tree and given the beautiful dress to the bird on the little hazel tree and sat by the fire in the kitchen. On the third day, Cinderella went once more to her mother's grave and said to the little tree, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, drop silver and gold down over me." All right, so here's a picture if you want to look at her in her beautiful dress, and here's the bird. And now the bird threw down to her a gold and silver dress, which was more splendid and magnificent than any she had had yet, and golden slippers embroidered with silver. And when she went to the dance in the dress, no one could speak because they were so astonished. The prince danced only with her. When Cinderella wished to leave, the prince was anxious to go with her, but she escaped from him so quickly that he could not follow. However, he had asked for the whole staircase to be smeared with sticky tar, and so when she ran down, her left slipper stuck. The prince picked it up. It was small and dainty and glittered in the light of the moon. The next morning the prince declared, "I will marry the girl whose foot fits this slipper." He went from house to house throughout the land. He came to Cinderella's house, and the eldest stepsister tried on the slipper. Her foot was too big. She couldn't fit her toes into the shoe. The prince passed the slipper to the second stepsister, who took it away to her room. There she got her toes safely into it, but her heel was too large. Her mother gave her a knife and said, "Cut off a bit of your heel. When you are queen, you won't be traveling on foot." The second stepsister cut off a bit of her heel, forced her foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the prince. He helped her onto his horse and took her away to be his bride. But they had to pass the tree beside Cinderella's mother's grave. There sat a pigeon who cooed. Turn and look, blood drips from the shoe. The slipper was too small for her, your true bride waits for you." The prince turned and saw the blood trickling from the stepsister's foot. Shocked, he turned his horse around. "Who else lives here?" he demanded at the house. "There is only the kitchen maid Cinderella," said her stepmother. "You cannot want to see her." But the prince insisted that even the kitchen maid should try the slipper. Cinderella washed her hands and face and went to the prince. She took her foot out of its heavy wooden shoe and slid it into the little slipper, which fitted perfectly. When she stood up, the prince looked into her eyes and recognized the beautiful girl from the dance. He shouted, "This is my true bride!" The stepmother and the two stepsisters turned pale with astonishment and rage. The prince helped Cinderella onto his horse, and they rode away. As they passed by the hazel tree, two pigeons cooed. "She fits the shoe, your bride is true. Goodbye to you, goodbye to you." Cinderella and her prince were married that day, and they lived in his magnificent palace, where they were happy ever after. The stepsisters attended the wedding, hoping to share in Cinderella's good fortune. But as they walked into the church, pigeons pecked out their eyes, and so, for their wickedness and lies, they were punished with blindness for the rest of their days. Wow. Now this Cinderella is kind of gross, right? Okay. Well, I don't know which one you like better. Maybe like the first one or the second one. But I will be reading much more versions to you later. Hopefully enjoy them. Bye-bye.